with 3,999 other gods, how come people are still pointing the finger at the Christian God when, if there's such a gap and there's such a need for change, how come the other 3,999 other gods aren't doing shit about what's going on? They have enough people furrow brows over their altars petitioning them, but yet we're still dealing with the same shit, right? Welcome back to Six Quantum Bridge Podcast. This is your host, analyst, and researcher, Bernadette. You're listening to the 2025 Marathon Show, Most Shared Show, and Rising Star Podcast on Spotify. You're about to find out why. So, with everything going on in the world right now, you have people saying we should separate church and state. Okay, great, wonderful. But when you leave this type of thing open, something comes into its place. And I'm getting chills as I'm telling you this. I feel like I'm going to make a lot of gods very angry, but oh well. What do you want me to do? Okay. Listen, if we're going to talk about accountability, we got to talk about accountability for the other 3,999. If I believe in the Christian God, and you believe in one of the 3,999 other ones, then how come one of yours isn't doing shit about the world? You have enough feminists with their brows furrowed over the altar, doing all kinds of incantations. You have enough people devoted to those practices and still no fucking change. Literally, when Donald Trump was inaugurated into office, you had people, covens plural, doing all of this magic to try to change things, and nothing changed. But then they want to blame it on a patriarchy. But there are, out of those 3,999 gods, male, masculine. Why didn't you petition one of them to try to check Mr. President Man? You go to your female gods, they weren't able to do the job either. Like, what is going on here? You love pointing the finger at the Christian God, but yet you don't point that same crusty finger to any of the other gods. And I'm going to bring up the ones in my culture as well. They don't stand behind either. And you know why I say that? Because I'm not into the Orishas. I don't believe in that. Okay, but we're going to, for the sake of representation, everybody wants to be represented, right? Everybody wants representation, right? So we're going to represent all of the deities. We're going to talk about all of them, what they supposedly are in charge of, quote unquote, and why isn't anything being done? But yet you want to point the finger at the Christian God all the time. Why aren't you pointing the same finger at your God? And for those that don't believe in spirituality, that don't have that type of path, how come instead of eradicating disease, you're growing an ear on the back of a mouse? You're over here doing bottom surgeries to people, changing things, cutting things off, okay? You're so concerned about that science, right? So if science is your God, how come they're not able to do anything either? But no, let's blame the Christian God every single fucking time. Every time that the slightest inconvenience happens, let's blame the Christian God, right? Why don't you blame your God? We're going to call all of them out. in this episode today. All of them. The Orishas, yeah, we're going to call y'all out. We're going to call from every pantheon. Nobody is safe. So, this selective outrage is so disingenuous. Because why is the Christian God the only one on trial here? If this world is so broken and suffering and terrible, where is the subpoena for the other 3,999? Not a single finger wagged at them, right? Oh, I forgot. There's this element of grace. Who gives grace? That's right, that's the Christian God. Oh, yeah. Head scratcher, huh? Because your gods would not allow you to speak this way, but I don't believe in your gods. So I'm good. I'm straight. You can't talk shit about your gods. Right? They're quicker to punish you than to change anything in this world to make it a better place. You better keep that altar filled with oranges and lemons and honey and whiskey and all manner of cigars. Everything but fucking solutions. Let's go in. If there is such a massive spiritual gap that needs filling, why aren't the ancient ones, quote unquote, stepping in? Are they waiting for a permission slip from the God of Abraham? And if they are, then who's in charge? What are you admitting that you don't want to admit? And this type of thing was shown during Jezebel's time. They were cutting themselves and doing all manner of nonsense to implore their gods to beseech them on their behalf. Sitting there bleeding, looking like a damn fool, and not a fucking thing happened. All it took was a word of faith from Isaiah, and boom, everything started changing. Everything. Do we need to have this kind of showdown again? Huh? Let's talk about the unemployed pantheons. Okay, yeah, I went there. We're going to be calling out Zeus, Odin, and the Orishas by name. Y'all claim they're sovereign, quote unquote, but their resume for global intervention in the 21st century is blank. Where the fuck are they? Where the fuck are they? If there's such a thing that needs to be fixed, why aren't they doing the fixing? Why? What's going on? Why are you pointing the finger at the Christian God, but you won't do it to Zeus or Odin or Ganesha or anybody else? Don't they have power? Huh? Where's the power? Did it go put? fizzled out? Wow. And let's talk about this matriarchy rising thing, right? Well, you look at the word matriarchy, the root word of matriarchy is mother. What kind of goddess do you know? Especially the ones that go all the way fucking back, that are ancient. And you like to talk about ancestors. They are old school. Not a one of them would be advocating for abortion. What the fuck? Like, think about it. The logic isn't logicking. Matriarchy is rooted in mater, M-A-T-E-R, or mother. How do you advocate for a matriarchy while simultaneously dismantling the sanctity of the mother through your rhetoric? Let's talk about this feminist echo chamber. Why has the goddess worship, quote unquote, only produced loudness? That's all you get is loudness, complaints, 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 social media videos, social media posts. You're not changing anything. The fuck are you changing by complaining? That's all you're doing. Hot take, POV, unpopular opinion. None of that shit changes anything. It doesn't make the world a better place. You're screaming into a TikTok void while the biological reality of women remains unprotected by your quote unquote female deities. What are they doing for you and your feminism? Y'all are doing a handshake, but it hasn't produced any fruit here. There's been no results. And I'm calling y'all out, y'all wombats. The professional complainers who think a thread is an activist movement. You ain't doing shit. You didn't do anything. You're not physically doing anything. It's inorganic static. It's just noise. Where is the change? Where? All you've done is maintain your stance that you hate men. Great, wonderful. You wouldn't exist if a one didn't exist getting together with your mom. Okay? You wouldn't even fucking be here. So let's throw that fucking shit out the water. Let's talk about cosmetic science versus real solutions. Why is science being used to grow ears on the back of mice, as I said before? Or perform identity cosmetic surgery instead of liquidating diseases that have existed since the 20s, the 1920s? Like, really, if you think my God is doing such a bad job, then why hasn't yours stepped in? Like, please explain it to me. Enough of you believe in them. Enough of you do petitions to your deities and your whatever they are. You believe in them enough to think that they have power to change things, but they didn't have the power to change the election. They didn't have power to do anything. And there was covens all over the fucking place. Not a single hiccup in moving the needle. Y'all haven't moved the needle at all. So let's go through the pantheons and let's start calling out some goddesses and gods here. Let's see. Let's call them to the front and see why you're lying to people that you have all this fucking power and you haven't done anything to change the world to be a better place. If you exist, then where the fuck are you? Where are you? We're going to start with Oshun and Yemaya. You call them the mothers of the world. Ooh, great title. But then, why are the world's children still starving? If they are the abundance, why are the books in the red? If you're meant to protect a certain demographic of people, how come that demographic of people is still fucking suffering? Why? Why? I'm just saying. This is a direct directive to all alternative spiritualities. If your God is better, quote unquote, woke or more benevolent, then clock the fuck in. Step into the gap or get off the fucking altar. You know the saying, shit or get off the pot? Yeah, that applies here. The common thread throughout this episode is going to be this. You guys don't want a better God, quote unquote. You just want a permission slip to do nothing while pointing the finger. So let's go back in my notes here. I got to go all the way back. Just give me a minute here. Excuse me. I have a whole list of them here. I don't have all 3,999. I basically did the major ones, but insert where you need to. Just give me a minute. It's quite a long list here. Okay, so we're gonna start with a little bit of them here. Okay, so Orishas, Obatala, or otherwise known as quote unquote the architect of humanity. Your role is the creator of human bodies and the patron of purity and peace. Great, wonderful. Cool job. Cool. Thumbs up. But my question to you, Obatala, is this. If you're the one who shapes the children in the womb, why are so many born into disease and starvation if you're in charge? If you're the king of white cloth and purity, why aren't you standing in the gap to clean up the abuse and filth that targets the innocent? Why are you waiting on the Christian God to fix what you allegedly created? Why would you wait on him? if you're the one that created everything? The logic isn't logicking. Let's move on. Yeah, Maya. Oh, we discussed her a little bit. You're supposed to be the mother of the world. Your role being the mother of all Orishas and the protector of women and children. You're supposed to be matriarchy incarnate, right? If that's the case, if they call you the mother of whose children are like the fish in the sea because they are so numerous, and you're supposedly, allegedly the ultimate mother, where is your protection? Why are your children drowning in poverty and hunger? Why is your ocean silent while the kids are crying? Do something. And don't require food rotting on an altar in order to do it. Do it without that. I'm saying it. Do it without needing any of that. Without needing magic spells and rituals and this and that and the other thing and puffs of fucking cigar smoke and fucking whiskey bottles and rum and all of this other manner of nonsense. You shouldn't, if you're a real God, you shouldn't need any earthly things in order to do anything powerful. You shouldn't need a cut off chicken head in order to show your power. You shouldn't need people to wear eleques to show your power. You shouldn't have to own people's head and feet to show your power. Pues dímelo. Please. I'm part Puerto Rican. I know everything about this pantheon. And I think it's bullshit. I fucking said it. And this is coming from somebody that was in it. Huh? I say what? ASE. I say what? I say, what the fuck? We're still fucking suffering over here. What happened? You're supposed to be a mama. You're supposed to care about your own. Just saying. What about you, Shango? You don't fucking stay behind. Oh, you wanted me to cancel men and to be misandrist to men, right? Shango is a man. I'm going to give you a little bit of what you want, right? So what about you, Shango? What about you? You're the god of justice and lightning, right? You're supposed to be the king of the drum, lightning, and thunder, and the enforcer of justice, really? Where the fuck is it? Looking high and low, can't find no more. Supposedly, you love to strike your enemies with lightning and demand justice. Okay, we're waiting. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Well, the injustice against children is at an all-time high. Where are you? Beating your chest? Showing how manly you are? How full your package is? Oh, you love showing all of that, but you don't do nothing about justice. Where the fuck are you? I know where my God is. Where the fuck are you? Why do you require certain things in order to show your power? Why do we have to venerate you a certain day of the week at a certain time, at a certain part in the witch's wheel? Why? Why? Why can't you just be powerful any fucking time? Anytime that a person calls on you. Anytime. Why do we gotta wait for a Wednesday at 4 fucking p.m. for you to do shit? Please tell me. Don't get mad at me. I'm part Puerto Rican myself. I can talk my shit. I can talk this shit. Okay? Because I got black blood in me. Okay? From my Puerto Rican side, I got a third black blood in me, honey, so I can fucking say my shit. I can talk my fucking shit. If you're such a demander of justice, why aren't you liquidating the predators and the systems that starve the poor? Are you waiting for a permission slip as well? What about you, Ashun? Put down the mirror for a fucking minute, please. Stop being vain for 2 fucking seconds out of your life and address the fucking situation at hand. Put the lip gloss down, please, honey. You're supposed to be the goddess of love and abundance. Yeah? Okay. Well, if you're such a protector of the poor and the mother of orphans and the goddess of fresh water and sweet things, then my question to you is this. You claim to be the mother of the orphans and the one who hears the prayers of the needy, then why is the water bitter for so many? If you're the source of sweetness and abundance, why is there a deficit in the bellies of the kids? Why aren't you standing in the gap, quote unquote, with your gold and your honey? Why aren't you doing anything about it? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, honey. I'll let you get back to your fucking mirror, okay? I'll let you get back to your mirror, you vain thing. And what about you, Ogun? What about you? You're supposed to be the god of labor and war, the protector of orphans, and there's a lot of you are protecting orphans and not doing shit to protect the orphans. Okay? You do nothing to protect the orphans. Allegedly, you rule technology and iron. But my question is this, if you're the warrior who clears the path, then why is the path to safety and health still blocked for millions of children? Where is your iron then when it comes to building a world where kids don't have to fear the night? Fuck. It's bullshit. I'm not going to pick on too many of you. I have so many other pantheons to pick on. Let's go all the way back. The Celts, ancient Celts believed in this. So it's your turn. We're going all over the world, okay? Nobody is safe. What about you, Morrigan? And Goths love you. They love you. You're supposed to be the goddess of war, fate, and sovereignty, right? You're supposed to be the phantom queen who predicts the death of heroes. Okay. Mm. You're supposed to be this queen of sovereignty and the great crow of the battlefield. If you're so powerful in the fate of nations, why are you just watching the carnage? You're not doing shit. Why aren't you using that war energy to fight the predators and the systems that starve children or hurt children? Or is your sovereignty only for the aesthetic and for threads posts to look edgy? It's such bullshit. What about you, Bridget? You're supposed to be this goddess of healing, poetry, and smithcraft. You're associated with protection and the hearth, the home. So my question to you is, if they call you the protector of the hearth and the exalted one, if you're the mother of healing, why is there a deficit in the hospitals? Why aren't you forging a new reality for the kids in poverty? Why haven't you made strides in finding a cure against dementia? People have to lose all memories of themselves and who they are because you're not lifting a fucking finger to change things. You're supposed to be a healer, right? Then how come this same pervasive diseases are still around if you exist? Why are you waiting for the Abrahamic God that I believe in to do something when you could step in, right? You can heal the sick while you sit by your eternal flame doing nothing. Like, what are you doing? Where are you guys? What are you doing? You're allowing people to point the finger at the Abrahamic God, but you're not doing anything either. You're not doing anything. How about you, Dagda? Dagda? You're supposed to be the good God who owns a cauldron that never runs empty and a club that can kill and restore life. I got a question for you. You got this cauldron that can feed the whole world and a club that can bring the dead back to life. So where is the bread? Why are children still hungry while your cauldron is infinite? Why are you waiting in the gap while people are dying? If you're the good God, prove your work history. Prove it. And I can already feel my heart kind of like going a mile a minute, is feeling a little painful because I'm triggering some gods here. I'm triggering them. You're supposed to be divine, aren't you? You're not supposed to be affected by the things a human like me would say, right? Unless I'm more than what meets the eye. Because I may not look like much on earth, but spiritually, you don't have no idea who I am. Okay? We might be here all night, but let's kind of wrap it up. What about Zeus? Zeus. You're supposed to be the king and the sky father. He's actually known as Sky Father, the one that you like to call the Christian god Sky Daddy, quote unquote. Zeus actually calls himself Sky Father. You got the wrong one. Dummies. My question to you is this: if you're the ruler of the sky and the protector of guests and the vulnerable, why are you letting the sky fall on the innocent? Why is your lightning silent while children and adults suffer? Now, we're talking about children here because people are like, oh, the children, the children, the children. You're the same ones that don't give a shit about the baby growing in a woman's stomach. But want to talk all of this mess once the baby is out and place them in the hands of people that have no DNA link to that baby. And then wonder why this baby develops certain neurological ailments. I'm just saying. What about you, Hera? The goddess of marriage and family? You claim to be the protector of the home. Where are you when the home is broken? Where are you when divorces are happening and there are broken homes and children being separated from their parents, having to live 2 days here and 3 days there, having no fucking stability? Why aren't you standing in the gap for the families being torn apart? Wow. Let's get to Egypt. Oh, you don't stay behind? I'm getting y'all too. What about you, Isis? You're supposed to be this mother goddess and the healer. My question to you? They call you the great physician. Why are the clinics empty? Because, well, let me rephrase that. Why are your so-called miracles not shown? Why aren't you healing the diseases that target the youngest among us? What about you, Osiris? You're supposed to be this big lord of justice. If you're the judge of the underworld, why is there so much injustice in the overworld? Why aren't you balancing the scales here for the kids who have nothing, for the adults who have nothing? Why is there homelessness? Why does that even exist on your watch? If you're supposed to be so powerful, you got to start pointing the finger at your own gods and goddesses. You see, the difference here is that my God allows questions. My God allows a open and honest conversation. We got questions. He has answers. Can you ask these same questions to your pantheon without risking being smited in some way? I'm just saying. And how about the Norse? You, Odin, the All-Father and the Seeker of Wisdom, you sacrificed your whole eye for wisdom. What good is that wisdom if it doesn't feed a starving child or place it in a loving home or prevent it from being aborted to begin with? Why are your ravens just watching the suffering instead of bringing bread? No, they're just there to be scavengers, right? And you, Thor, you're supposed to be a protector of humanity? Question, pop quiz. If you're the people's god, quote unquote, where is your hammer when the predators come for the kids? Why are you invisible in the fight for the vulnerable? Y'all are so quick to badmouth the Christian God. But what about these gods? If they got any fucking pull or any fucking power, how come they're not doing shit? Why would you need to wait for my God? Employ yours. But instead of complaining about yours because you're afraid of being killed, you're afraid of being smited or something being taken away from you because you have to give something up in order to get whatever you're getting with these gods and goddesses. Nothing ever comes for free. You'd rather point the finger at my God. Unfucking believable. And what about you, Lakshmi? The goddess of wealth and prosperity? If you're the source of all abundance, why is global hunger a reality? Why are your blessings, quote unquote, missing from the slums? Why is there even a caste system? Why aren't all of your people equal? Huh? And you, Ganesha, remover of obstacles, ooh. There are millions of children with obstacles in their way. Poverty, lack of education, abuse. Why are those obstacles still there? Why haven't you cleared the path, Ganesha? Listen, if you're going to point the finger at my God, you better use that same fucking finger to point the finger at your gods. Because I see nothing being done. I'm just saying, think about it. That's the problem. Nobody likes to think about these things. It's uncomfortable. I get it. You want the aesthetic of being edgy and not conforming to the man being my God. You consider him the man to fight against. Then how come you're not admonishing your own pantheon? What the fuck? Why is this still pervasive? And for the omnists, I don't even know what you believe. You believe that there's truth in everything. So what exactly do you believe? Who exactly do you hold accountable if you believe in every fucking thing? Right? If you believe in every fucking thing and everything's fucking true, then nothing's a lie, right? Then what you're saying, if there's truth in everything, that means you're saying that there's no such thing as a lie. That there's no such thing as a mistruth or a half-truth or a white lie. I'm just saying, guys, let me go get some water in me because when I talk, my throat is dry. Just give me a minute. And we're back. I think I'm pretty much done here. Listen, you like to sit here and point fingers. Anything having to do with Christianity, anything having to do with Catholicism, the Abrahamic God, the first thing you like to do is get on your soapbox and point your fucking finger. Why don't you do the same thing for your own pantheon? Why don't you start holding your own gods and goddesses accountable for their lack of movement? Huh? If we're going to point fingers here, let's point fingers at all of the other 3,999. And for those of you that don't believe in any gods, what position do you take on what type of science is good science? What is priority? What is priority right now in this world? Curing disease or changing a person's sex? I'm asking the uncomfortable questions. Somebody has to. Y'all are pointing the fingers at my God. Now I'm going to point the fingers at your gods. How come they're not doing shit? Something to chew on. Like it, don't like it, follow me. Do what you will with this episode. This had to get out. Because I'm fucking done.